How's it going, everyone? So we got another garden tour today.
Yeah, lucky number 7 of 2020.
We're doing a little different. We're doing it in the afternoon, so it's pretty bright out.
Usually we do it in the evening, but the mosquitoes have been so awful that we decided we weren't going to do that today. So sun instead.
Yeah, and she's drinking a coffee.
It's going to be a long day.
So the cucumbers over here have been flowering, and then actually been doing pretty good. 2 of the plants have been flowering. Yellow one's pretty slow. And the tomato plant, it's alive. Let's just put it that way. We're hoping to get 1 tomato off it. That's all we need. And the flowers, the wildflowers are just crazy.
So as Matt was saying, the cucumbers and the tomato that are growing up here, we're hoping to just get enough to have seeds to save off of these, being they're separated from the other plants, so hopefully they don't get cross-pollinated with anything, so they'll be a true variety and we can grow more next year. So we're in the greenhouse, and our cucumber plant, this is the best cucumber plant we've got going right now. I think this was 1 plant, and it is just taking up a huge corner of the greenhouse, which is great. But we've been noticing in here, like our garden, we're getting that cucumber beetle. We thought it was a 3-line potato beetle. They look so similar, and found out it wasn't. So we have sprayed everything down that's in the garden, hoping to get rid of it. We were gone for so long a while back, and it just kind of took over. So we're hoping that does the trick. These ones still look healthy, but we're starting to see the beetles in here too. So we need to be proactive and take care of these cucumbers. So we have pulled out tons in the greenhouse. We pulled out all our lettuce, and the only spinach we have left is stuff we're hoping to go to seed so that we can collect seeds, because we actually used all of our seed to plant that. Pretty much all our greens are out of here. A lot of stuff is going to seed. I pulled broccoli, I pulled cauliflower, I kept just enough for seed. Even our celery from the store is going to flower. So I'm gonna break those off today, and I don't want those to go to flower because they're not gonna produce decent celery. It was just some stuff from the store. In the greenhouse, we've been noticing a lot of things grow really well. So our pepper plants are really tall, easily 3 times taller than the plants in the garden, but we have been noticing a lot less flowering, a lot less fruit on things. So even though we have really tall pepper plants in here, there are no flowers. And it's kind of a disappointment right now, because we were trying to figure out what we're gonna grow in here next summer, and by how fast these were growing, we were convinced peppers were the answer, but I'm not so sure. We still have time, so we'll still kind of wait and see. Along with that, our tomato plant, we're not counting it out just yet, but no flowers yet. So I don't know if we messed it up when we cut off that weird one, or what exactly is going on there. We're finally getting some seed from our flowers from our radishes. Our little experimental celery patch over here, where I just kind of dumped the celery microgreen seeds that were left, is going so well. Some of these are just doing so well, and it looks like we might have some celery in here if it can put up with the heat and cooler weather, as we will be there soon too. Our kohlrabi is just starting to form the ball part of the kohlrabi, so we've been noticing that, and that's exciting. I think I probably should have thinned them out even a little bit more than I already did. They're a little leggier than the ones we had growing in the garden last year, and the bugs have gotten the leaves on these really bad. We haven't really seen anything out here eating them, so I'm wondering if we've seen cabbage worms on some other plants, those 3-line potato beetles, and then that cucumber bug. So that seems to be the big culprit, so I'm wondering if it's one of those, but I don't really know. We are also still looking for advice for our lazy onions that have just decided to lay down and take a nap while everything else is trying to grow. So if you have any tips or advice on that, we'd greatly appreciate it.
The pumpkins up here are doing very well, actually, and the watermelon doesn't look like much, but that's the best we've ever done. There's even a flower on the watermelon, so that's super exciting for us. But the pumpkins, wow, normally we get like 3-4 pumpkins, and these are doing great. Now, over here we have pumpkins that are pie pumpkins, and you can see the pumpkins on there. There's a bunch of flowers. These over here are the jack-o'-lantern pumpkins. Now there are tons of flowers, but there's no pumpkins yet, and our kids they don't know that yet. So we just let them think that, you know, the pie pumpkins are. Yeah, it's pretty cool to see how these are growing. And we were talking actually today, and my wife and I were thinking I'm going to do a bee yard over there across the creek, and I think we're going to put a lot of this kind of stuff, the vines, the gourds and stuff, all plant a bunch over there next year, and it'll give it it's an open, little more bit of a space for it, and let them go down the hill and everything. So it's sad. My cucumbers are taking a beating from that darn beetle, and we're trying different things. We tried Dawn soap, Sara sprayed on them. We're gonna try neem oil now, and it's just it's a bummer. I can't believe it. We've never had this before, so I don't know what is it this year that we had more bugs in our garden. Maybe it's because they're planting all these extra flowers for the bees and we don't need to. I don't know, but it's, for some reason, we have way more bugs this year than we ever have before.
So I am just harvesting while we go along today. For sure, our cucumbers. Thankfully, we already got a few little pints put up of pickles, but I'm gonna harvest what we can and at least get some pickles made. Hopefully we can bring these plants back, but at least use what's here.
So week 7, sunflowers, they got me beat for sure. They gotta be about 10 feet because I'm 7 foot, remember? They're doing good. It's kind of cool, like up on top of the hill, they're taller and then they get shorter down the hill. And I'm guessing it's because, you know, the shade throughout the day. So the Roma tomato plants over here, Sara had tied them up to get them off the ground, and they're still doing good. Where the other ones, they turned, a lot of them had almost like a blight on them, but this setup here is just doing great. So we're just gonna let them go and keep going. They got tons of tomatoes on them, and I'm super excited. The Romas, to me, I can eat them like an apple. They're really good. So you know how I was trying to grow a bunch of onions and my onion craze, and it just makes me mad we can never grow onions, and I just want to figure it out why, and trying every, you know, other kind and whatnot. Well, we had a huge storm the other day, and the onions didn't fare too well in the storm because we have 5-gallon buckets over here that we use for the baby chicks and the big chicks, and the storm blew them and they landed right on top of my onions. I just don't know what to do. I can never win with onions. I don't know why. So I think what we're gonna try to do, what's in the plan, is plant a bunch of them in the greenhouse and see if we can get them to grow there, because we have a longer season with the greenhouse now. So I'm wondering if we can get a bunch to bulb there, then pull them, and then in the spring, wait a couple of months basically, put them back in the ground. But I'm gonna think I might leave some and see how long it'll go, see if it'll last. Maybe they'll go through the year. I don't know. This winter will be fun with that greenhouse.
So we have pulled a couple tomatillos. This is their first year growing them, and we pulled them more for fun because we wanted to see what they tasted like raw. We know you are supposed to roast them before you make them into anything. And what I had been understanding about when they're ready to harvest is that when you squeeze kind of the paper-like thing, it'll feel firm. You're not squeezing the paper in too far. And we noticed that right after that storm, a couple of these actually split open. So I'm definitely gonna harvest those, and I might make a little salsa verde tonight. So we did harvest our very first zucchini this week. Matt made kind of like a goulash, like a hot dish, and we put that in there. It was delicious. A few of our kids were a little hesitant to eat it, which made us both nervous, being it was the first zucchini of the year, but we know it's not their favorite.
So all of the peppers, the jalapeno, they're doing good. Which I don't understand is, for some reason, the hot peppers we can grow in this soil really good. I know we're gonna get a ton off of these because they have tons of flowers on them already. They already have how many peppers that are that big, which it's fine. What we do is we like to cut them up and then we'll freeze them if we don't use them all, because you only can have so many jalapeno poppers before you don't want them. The cayenne peppers don't have any flowers or anything on them, so kind of wondering what's going on with those. Normally last year they flowered the same time, but we have so much from last year yet that we should be all right.
So our Italian heirloom tomatoes and all of our indeterminate tomatoes that we put on the cattle panels down here, I think they're doing really well. I feel really good about them. I felt like I over pruned them at first, and I did over prune them because we had let them go too long. But now they are doing really well, and we have some really big, wonderful looking tomatoes. They are all still green, but hopefully we'll have a few blushing soon. So just to give you an idea of how big our tomatoes are, this is one of our biggest, and it's about the size of my palm, so that's really exciting. The kids come out here and look at this one silly tomato almost every day, and I know it's gonna fall off early because everybody touches it and is admiring it, but we do have quite a few other big ones too.
I actually can't believe it hasn't fallen off yet because I've watched Evan twist the whole thing around. I don't know how it hasn't fallen off. You remember in the back part of the garden where there was a bunch of weeds and we put more wood chips down? This is the part that we added on last year, and we had all this cabbage in here. Well, they're not doing so well. So the cucumbers though, they're doing good, but the cabbage is not faring out right. So I am wondering what we're gonna do with this spot. So I'm contemplating on making a couple of raised beds in here and see if we can grow lettuce just mainly in the summer, and see if we can grow some greens back here, because it is a little bit more shaded than normal parts of the garden. But I don't know what else to do, or maybe next year it'll work because the soil should be built up by then. But trial and error, you got to keep trying. If we wouldn't have kept trying, then we wouldn't have a garden. When we first started gardening, we used to do the till method all the time, which was fine, but we grew a lot of stuff. Man, we had an abundance of weeds. It's just too bad you couldn't eat the weeds.
I am just harvesting more raspberries. All of our wild black raspberries are gone now. Probably within the last week we've seen the ends of them. And our raspberries, they are really going big right now. Unfortunately, that fruit fly like creature I was telling you about in another video has laid a few eggs, and we've seen kind of the maggot like larva in a few of our raspberries, so I have been really careful to check them before we eat them, which is a little time consuming and frustrating.
So as she was picking raspberries, I was pulling weeds. Now, because I put the grass down, if you guys remember in my last videos, they started growing a bunch of weeds, which is my fault. But I put wood chips on that half of the garden all the way down to this trellis, the cattle panel right here. So I still have to do from here down to the last cattle panel because I did the far back. But so I'm just weeding in between there every other week or whatever. But it's fine. It's not the end of the world. Man, when I was younger, I hated weeding. My mom said to go weed. I wanted to go hide. I was so mad. I didn't want to weed. But now it's like, whatever. Well, I suppose it's because it's mine too, but it's not as much as a regular garden, so it's not too bad. But lesson learned, do not add grass clippings to your back to Eden garden. Did I say it's hot out? Yeah, it's good to sweat. So I wanted to ask, for the people that doing gardens and everything out there that are watching us, do you guys plant a fall garden? And if so, what do you plant? We really never have. We've planted only a couple of things. And that was our lettuce and Swiss chard, I believe we planted once. And it didn't work for us. then. So, but our fall garden will be in our greenhouse towards the end of August, middle of August, end of August. We'll have to plant stuff. As far as the cucumbers that are up here, now I was doing research on those, and I actually have until the beginning of August, or the first week in August, somewhere in there, I can plant another hill or two. Do you guys remember the pepper plant in the greenhouse? So look at these. These are getting tall too. It's crazy how tall they're getting out here and the ones up in the greenhouse. Normally they get about knee high for us. They never get too tall, and just different year, I guess. How about you guys? Do you guys grow dill? And has it been growing? Leave it in the comments, tell us. Only dill we have growing is this little one. That's our volunteer dill.
If you enjoyed watching this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up.
And don't forget to subscribe. Glad you got to see us again.
Bye.
Bye.